Today in the woodyard, we're going to talk about the best measuring device there is for measuring firewood cutting. Here we go. So I know a lot of you have probably already watched the first video I did on the best measuring device for cutting firewood, and there have been some improvements because I learned a few things as I was using them. So if you haven't done your saws yet with this measuring device, if you even put them on, good for you, because I've got some improvements. I learned some things that you're going to want to know. And if you already did, it's no big deal. Zip tie's not expensive. I just bought a pack of them, 100 for like $10. So here's the story. So when I first put the zip tie on, I put it on like this so that it could move around. But I found that it didn't stay in place very good because it was constantly moving when I was cutting, which is good and bad. I mean, it's nice because you can have your, so I would, basically you'll see in the video here, I'll show you a little bit. I measure from the edge of the log here over to here, or vice versa, and that's 16 inches from the chain, a bar over to this zip tie over there. And what's nice is you can spin it out of the way. You can have it over here. It's not annoying. It's not going to hit your bar at all. So it works pretty good that way. And in the woods, it's nice for getting around. However, what happened was that when it was cold out for the last, I don't know, month and a half now or so, I mean, you know, 0 to 15 degrees when I'm out there in the morning, they break off. This I found out the first package that I had. This is the brand. It's a Gardner Bender is the brand. You get 3 zip ties. This is a releasable zip tie. It was a 21 incher, but then I cut some off the end and put a piece of tape on the end so I could measure with it. But it's a releasable cable tie, so I thought, you know, I'd be able to take them off if I didn't like them. You just, you know, push down on this button thing and then you can undo them, take them off. Whereas a lot of zip ties like these here, you put them on and they lock on like that, and they're on, and there's no releasing it. You got to cut it off to get it off. Oh, I got it off. So yeah, because it's locked tight now, it's not going to come off. So I thought these would work better, but what happens is this, here, I'll take you guys down so you can see here. But what happens is this is so stiff, these bigger ones that I bought, that, because what I ended up doing is I ended up taping them on like this so they didn't move, so they're permanent. As you can see, it's not permanent, but I mean, they just don't swivel around on me at all. Which is great for holding it in place. And if you were just cutting in one place all the time, this would be nice. But this tab right here, this release part, gets in the way a lot. And the other thing I found out is these super stiff cable ties, these heavy ones, these are 1/2 inchers. So what I found was these get in the way a lot, especially if you've got them taped down. This is really stiff and it sticks out. So like when you're carrying your saw, it'll hit the side, like your leg will be here and it'll be bumping into that, or it hits other logs, or it hits the trees. And this thing right here doesn't move at all, this release. So it kind of gets in the way. I mean, it works, but not as good as I would like it to work. And because it was cold out, when I would set the saw down, say there was a log like right here where my hand is, and this was taped down, and you would hit it, and the weight of the saw alone, just putting the saw down, and I snapped off 2 of these already by having them not movable. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take this one off and just get rid of it altogether. I'm actually going to take this one off too, because what I found, and I didn't even know they made these, some of you probably knew this, they make extreme ties, which are for 40 below Celsius Fahrenheit temperatures. And I did not need to get these super heavy duty ones like this. I'm just going to use these thinner ones like this because they're going to be way longer than I need, and I'll cut it off, you know, right up in here, and only have half of this is all that's going to really stick out. And I got a 100 pack for like $9.99. So if I break them off, no big deal, I just put another one on. So we're going to give this a try next, and I think this is going to work way better, and I think these would be way more flexible. Because it's such a smaller, thinner piece, they flex really nice, and they just kind of whip out of the way, and I'm not going to have that big knob like this right here sticking out in the way. All it's going to be is this little bitty one. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to change them out. So here's a little example of how easily these break. I started to cut a little bit on the end here and it snapped right off on me. So this release button can come off pretty easily. Like that. And so yeah, just look at how easy. I just give it one little score like that. They snap really easy. So obviously these weren't the greatest ones to use in cold weather because they do break. So what I'm going to do is just put on a little guy like this. And I don't think it'll get in the way nearly as much as a big one. So all I'm going to do then is I'm just going to put a little piece of tape on the end here where the 16-inch mark is. So I'm going to cut this off so it's 16 inches from the end here over to the side of the bar. I'm going to measure it now. So 16 inches is right there. And I'm just going to snip this guy off then. There we go. So I just snipped it off. And then I'm going to take a little piece of tape and I'm going to put up a little piece of tape on the end here. Get this down so you can see a little better. I use a lot of pink tape in the woods. And you probably noticed some of my other pieces of equipment have pink tape on the handles, like my Fisker's splitting axe has pink tape on it. My little splitting maul I have out there all the time, I have some pink tape on the top of the handle and stuff like that. And I put it on there because a lot of times when I get working, it's not unusual at all for me to bury equipment. I'm sure those of you that do a lot of splitting and cutting know exactly what I'm talking about, because once you get a big pile of wood and if you leave your axe or something laying there, it's very easily to just bury it in the pile. So there, I've got a little tab on there now. So now that'll be my mark. And it should be good. And I'll still be able to, well, actually this sticks much better than the other ones. I think it's because this is smaller diameter and this must be more flexible. I was able to get this one pulled on here nice and tight. So it stays really good without really bumping much, but yet I can still spin it out of the way. So it's completely out of the way back over here like this, or I can spin it over like that. So there, that's one done. Two more to go. Here's number two. Just gonna zip her on. That's plenty tight. Yeah, I can still move it too. And we're gonna measure our 16 inches, which is right there. And we're gonna cut that off. So you're only cutting off that much. And by the way, I know somebody's gonna ask me, these are 14 inches. That's all you need is 14s. They come even longer, and I think you can get thicker ones, but I'm going to give these a try. I think this is going to work because, I mean, just look at that, how flexible that is. You can just push it pretty much anywhere, and it's not going to get in the way like these big clunkers do. So now we're going to throw some tape on the end of this one here. I probably won't throw the tape, but I'll apply some tape. How's that sound? Does it sound better? So I'll just spin that on. And if I break 50 of them, I'll have 50 left because there's 100 in here. So I'm pretty sure this is going to work pretty good. I'm going to put a bigger chunk on the end here, but too small a one to start with. And this pink really shows up. You know, there's just nothing in nature outside that's that color. Unless it's something that's cut open and bleeding. You can see pink maybe, but anyway, this stands out really good in the woods. At least I think so. So there, that one's done. On to the next one. So this next one, I have to take off the old clunky one here, the too big, massive one. So I've got to do some cutting. I've got to do some surgery. So I'm just going to cut the tape off first. This will take a while, so I'll be right back. There, I cut off the old clinky one, and we'll put the new one on. And you know, I don't know, yeah, if you come up here, it starts to, you hit the bend in the handle and it starts sticking up. It's best to have it down low like that. That's what I found. But we'll get this one on as tight as I can. There we go. I think that's on about as tight as it's going to go. And we'll give her a measure. And 16 is right there. cut. And then we're going to slap some tape on this one. Or apply it if you prefer. I think that'll be just fine, just like that. There we go. Done. So there they are. 3 bendy, whippy, flexible measuring devices. So now all we gotta do is go try them out.